one quick thing to end on Salah, okay? Not making excuses for the guy, all right? Bottom line is the buck stops with him.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that,
Yeah.
okay? So I'm not making excuses for him. I'm just saying there are other factors you have to consider. So that all that means is give the guy a chance to get the tools that he needs. He needs an edge rusher. He needs a consistent safety, consistent corner. And let's see what he can do then.
Are you listening? Damn.
I love to shift gears when I do that. Ronbo Sports here, representing the Niner Empire organization worldwide. We're 49er football. It just doesn't end. Fam, Thanksgiving time and happy tea day to you. Hope you enjoying that turkey as we scarfing down them groceries, bucket by bucket, because it just don't matter today how much you eat. Eat up! It's what this holiday's all about. You got to work out tomorrow, though. Better. Woo! Hey, think about this for a minute, though. What are we thankful for as 49er fans? Let me start with, I'll tell you right now. Yesterday I was watching some clips, as I always do, and there was a shot of Jimmy G walking around out the 49er facility. I could see a tiny, slight lip, I thought. It could have been my imagination, though, because he was moving slowly. It looked like one leg was just sort of a little bit locked up. It'll be okay, you can tell, because you can see he's on the road to recovery and going to get there quick. Because you know what? Jimmy G's got shoot, how many weeks has it been since the Kansas City game? It ain't been that long. Then we watched him walking around in crutches. So seeing him walking around without crutches now, I am delighted. Let's go, Jimmy G! And hey, Matty B. Did you check him out on KNBR? Well, I really enjoyed that, man. Matty B sitting there. He was asking about the Chiefs and Rams game. Matty says, yeah, I was excited watching that game. And hey, looking at the Rams, though, and I said, you know what? That's where we're headed. Matty B, you're right. First of all, McVay is Kyle Shanahan's student. So, of course, what you've seen out there in the field is a lot of what we do. Good run game. Everything's pretty much predicated after the run game. Great passing schemes. Guys running around wide open, The advantage is we ain't dealing with the student. We got the master. I don't care what McVay does. Shanahan is still the superior OC. So there you go. And this is why, McVay is another example why I say, don't give me no OC to work with these guys. These guys are the best at what they do. I want it to stay just the way it is. He's doing a fine job. All right. Here's another thing that amused me too. During the presser yesterday, there you have Robert Salah being questioned, right? Fam, be honest. I'm going to tell you right now, because the question was this for Robert Salah. Are there any regrets of having Jimmy Ward working out more at the corner position in preseason than the safety spot? Now, see, the reporters are thinking the same thing I am. Doesn't Jimmy look good playing that safety spot? I mean, I'm just saying. I'm looking at him, I'm watching him, I'm saying, that's why they call him a natural safety. He looks comfortable in that position. Did a good job for the most part. All right? Because I don't know what the 49ers are going to do here. Because Robert Salah answered the question, made me laugh, too. You know how he is, Robert Salah? No, we've got no regrets as to having him work out for the corner position. We know that Jimmy can play anywhere in the secondary. I'm sitting here laughing because what's Robert Salah going to do? Lose face and say, yeah, we made a mistake. We should have never had Jimmy play in the corner position. He was always the free safety. He's not going to do that. So I do wonder, though. You have the dilemma. Jimmy's going to get a renewal for his contract or not, right? The 49ers can save a lot of money if they don't renew his contract. Jimmy just got an $8.5 million payday. What are you going to do next? Because that would mean you'd have to raise his pay. So the 49ers got DJ Reed, the incumbent, so to speak. or backup. At any rate, he is supposed to have the same capabilities as, for the most part, as Jimmy. So do you save that money, or do you renew Jimmy Ward's contract and keep him on and let him compete? Because AC, I love AC, but would it be interesting to see him and Jimmy fight for that position? Would they raise each other's game to the next level? See, that's what you always want. DJ Reed, I don't know if he could push Jimmy Ward. I don't even know if he could push AC. But it would be interesting to see what would happen there. See what the 49ers going to do. They got a lot of decisions to make this year. We will see what happens with that. In the meantime, I don't know. Really. Something to think about, though. Because next time people get in conversations about how much they don't like Jimmy Ward, I ain't saying nothing. All right? Hey, Nick. Nick came up for questions, too. I says, man, I've become such a huge... Nick Mullens is my dude, man. I mean, I like his confidence. His dude's got swag, and he's got no right to have. Although, wait, let me take that. He does have a right to have swag. Do you know Nick Mullens is... his QBR is I think it's 107. The dude's got 500-something yards within 2 games, 2 TDs. Nick's been doing work. And his turnovers, I think he's got 1 or 2 INTs. But the fact of the matter is, Nick produces. And you can see out there he's in full control of the offense. He hasn't been sacked yet. He's got that lightning quick release. I like Nick Mullens. Nick is a workaholic, too. Nick, during the bye week, what does he do? Nick goes home, and he doesn't take the whole week off like a lot of guys did. Nick told everybody, yeah, I spent a couple of days with the family. And then I got back to work. I said, Jesus, Nick, man, this dude wants to be perfect so bad. This is the kind of guy we want in our organization, fam. And you know this. Nick has been busted butt the entire time he's been gone. And Kyle even said something about that. I don't want our guys overworking, though. Because you don't want them burning out before the season ends. But Nick is so intense. He has got to get to the next level, and he's going to do everything he can to get there. So I ain't mad at Nick, man. I'm telling you right now, Nick, you go, Nick. We got the Bucs coming up, and there's a comedy team. You know, the Bucs, they got 2 quarterbacks as they keep going back and forth. It's kind of silly is what it is. The coach is strange. You keep sitting guys down every time they make a mistake, right? I suspect the Bucs are going to go for a quarterback next year, but then that may involve us because there may be a trade up, and we may be right there to receive it. All right, you know what? Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Even if Jameis, I like to call him Jameis, it just feels funny. As Winston starts, and he's worse than Fitz when it comes to turnovers. I believe one of them ranks a 6 point something as far as turnovers, and Fitz is a 4.9, as I remember those digits. So it's sorry and sorrier. Or should I say the sorriest next to the sorry. So they're going to do a bad job. And here's another thing. The Bucs pass defense falls right into Nick Mullens' hands. Nick Mullens did a job against the Raiders defense. And by the way, the Bucs defense is worse than the Raiders secondary and pass coverage. There it is. If indeed that is the case, that means that somebody's in trouble and Nick's gonna kill him. You know what I'm saying? If the Bucs are that bad, then what is Nick gonna do? Nick! There they are right there for you waiting. Later for the draft. I want to see the 49ers win and win big against these clowns. Oh, you always scare me.
What's good, Richard?
Oh, you big fella.
Game time, baby bubba.
I know.
Shameless Winston
I
and the Bucs. I got some serious cheese on the Niners on this one too, Ronbo.
Cheese is money.
Cause I'm bringing winning back. Niners win this one.
What?
27-20.
You think so?
Ronbo,
What?
I be knowing. And I'm gone.
He's bringing winning back. You know. No, I don't know where he got that from. I didn't even know he listened to pop music. But I know the song he's talking about. He did a little bit of Justin Timberlake in there. Anyway, if he is bringing winning back, this would be the right week to call it, too. And we lose this game. I was just kind of surprised we lost last week, but the Giants played a little better football last week than they had been playing. They were a little bit tighter. Their offensive line protected the quarterback a little bit more. And we may have lost the game that we were supposed to lose, because I had us losing that game earlier in the season anyway. So there you go. You know what, though? We have a lot of questions, and I thought I'd go to a guy that might have some slick perspective. Let's go talk to Coach Tim, and I'm going to hit him with some questions. Check this out. You got it? I've been such questions are like going everywhere. I went and got Coach Tim. See if he can shed some light on what's going on these days. Coach, how you doing?
Doing good. How you doing?
Coach, the coach gave you the normal answer you would give when somebody asked you that question. Coach is a 49er fan just like the rest of us. There's misery, suffering, and pain. Coach, here's the magnitude of what we're talking about here. It's 2018. We're going to week 11. We've won 2 games.
Yep.
My question is this.
Crazy.
I know. It makes no sense. We got Jimmy Garoppolo. It's a whole story. Coach, you know what, though? I've been somewhat to a degree. I've been a Salah apologist. I'm starting to listen to what everybody else is saying, and maybe, I don't know, maybe you shed some light on it. He's held responsible for every mistake the defense makes. I'm just wondering, Coach, help me understand that. Is that accurate? Mm-hmm. Is it all his fault? Is it mostly his fault? Should he be held responsible completely for the failures that we're experiencing? So what are you thinking?
Well, no. The short answer is no. And I'll tell you why. The reason why is because there's several reasons. Okay. People have to be realistic and understand what's going on here. What are the dynamics? Okay. Number one, second year of a rebuilding team. They really only have a few pieces out of 11 guys. They've got maybe 5 or 6 pieces to the puzzle, getting a top 10 defense consistently, or a top 5 defense. They still need talent on that defensive side of the ball. And we can go into detail about that if you want. I can tell you we need 2 edge rushers. We need, or at least one.
Please.
And I feel we need to get a veteran edge rusher, we can get a rookie too in the draft, but what I'm saying is one of these guys got to be a veteran, because we need the leadership. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of them out there that are going to be available this offseason, so we're going to have our pick. Just a matter of Sherman is probably going to get involved and get somebody in here. Second thing is the injuries. My God, how many injuries have we had on defense? Our secondary is depleted. Our linebacking core is depleted. You got guys playing together out there that have not practiced a long time together. They haven't played together. And they're being put in situations where their communication has got to be on point, or they're giving up touchdowns. And that's exactly what's happening. When they don't communicate, they're giving up points. And the guy that really laid this on the table was Richard Sherman in his press conference after the last loss. He actually said communication is an issue. And that's what's going on. And you see it in the frustration, like when Okello, they gave up that touchdown to the second one to OBJ, right?
Yeah.
And he's kind of like, throwing his hands up, being demonstrative. Of course, he got disciplined for that. Yeah. And because you don't show up your teammates by doing that. Yeah. But he's young, right? Yeah. He's a young guy, second year. He's had a lot of adversity this year with the injuries and, getting put in positions where he was paired with players out there who were either new at a position at safety, or, there was backups playing for Sherman a few times this year when he got hurt. Yeah. So, what you do is you look at that whole thing, and you got to have the proper perspective, okay? Because I used to be a coach, I know how injuries can affect the cohesiveness of a defense or an offense, okay? I had those problems when I was coaching. And it wasn't that I was a bad coach or my D coordinator was bad. It was that we had a lot of adversity in the communication issues. Guys weren't, executing. It was execution. That was what the bottom line was. And it was because they didn't have the experience to do that. So, we got our starters back, and we started playing at a playoff level again on offense and defense. So, to me, it was clearly not a bad coaching scenario. Now, I go back to the deficits we have on defense, personnel-wise. Now, Salah has some blame in this, and I'll tell you how it is. It's because coaches are, in the NFL, they need to make adjustments. Okay, you make adjustments with personnel. If you get inferior personnel in there, then you got to simplify things so these guys don't get put into situations where complications start to arise. And I think that's where they're making their mistake. I mean, the cover 3 scheme they're running, every time they have a problem is when they switch the coverage. You notice.
Every time.
Brian Baldinger did a good video of this it was on Twitter.
Yeah, all his breakdowns are awesome.
And
they point out every last step of the mess up. I mean, you're exactly right.
And he was echoing exactly what I was thinking while I was watching the game. And I was like, oh my God, they're not talking to each other out there. What's going on? It's very frustrating, but that's what's happening. And I mean, what are you going to do? Fire the D coordinator? I mean, now you got to start all over again with your scheme. You got to bring in new players. Now you're starting all over again with a defense that right now is sitting at around 20th in the league.
Yeah. And that's not awful, but it's not as good as it should be. And you're right. This is my biggest pet peeve is everybody, fire this guy every year. Fire this guy. Fire this guy. And then we got to start all over again. We fired the last guy. We started all over again. We're in year 2 of it, right? And like you said, personnel has a lot to do with it. Communications. And you pointed out something that everybody should know about poor Keller Witherspoon, who's taking him. He's taking a heat every time because the camera zooms in on him just about every other time. But the thing is, Kello has probably been the most consistent guy out there as far as showing up for each game, as far as health-wise, right? But the guys that are settling in, Richard's been out, like you mentioned. He's worked with 3 safeties this year. He's worked with Colbert. He's worked with DJ Reed, a rookie. And he's also now working with Jimmy Ward. Coach, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but didn't him and Jimmy Ward, even though, and now we're talking about a premier wide receiver. We're talking about a guy that could go into the Hall of Fame. They dealt with OBJ. There were plays when Baldinger pointed out where Manning kind of failed. OBJ was open on a few occasions, but that's neither here nor there. It wasn't seen. But they did collapse on him perfectly on a couple of occasions, and some of the scenes that we don't see on the camera are happening as well. But when the failure comes up, the camera zooms in, it's modified, people go nuts, and they start throwing the book.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, there's, and again, when you look at what's going on out there with the communication, I mean, okay, let's take the first touchdown OBJ got against the 3Z coverage, which is a zone. I used to run that 3Z also myself when I coached. I was a head coach, and I was actually running the defense. I had to teach the coaches how to run it. It was a bear defense. But oftentimes we'd come up against a spread or 3 wide receiver formation, and you had to come out of the bear because you couldn't leave 8 guys in the box when you got 3 wide receivers out there and man-to-man coverage. So what you wanted to do is you want to isolate the best receiver and basically surround him with a zone so that he can't really hurt you. That was the principle in the coverage they were running. Okay, they were running this. It was a 3Z type of zone where they were zoning on OBJ's side, and they were manning up on Sherman's side. Now Sherman covered, I think it was Shepard on his side. He covered him man to man, or the tight end. Sorry, it was the tight end.
Yeah.
And on the OBJ side, they had 3 receivers there. Okay, but you only saw 2 guys up on the coverage. Kwan was up there, and Akello was up there, and then Ward was in the back. Right? So you had 3 receivers and 3 coverage guys, and then you had the linebackers. Okay. Now, the guy that made the mistake on the zone coverage there was Kwan. He didn't get enough depth in his drop.
I saw that.
He went back, and we teach our defensive backs, and Eric Crocker, I think, had a fit about this on Better Rivals. He went on a podcast or something somewhere.
Yeah.
But he was an old DB coach, and he played in the NFL. Right, you know Eric, right?
Right.
And he started talking about, what the heck is Kwan doing? He's not dropping deep enough in the zone. which is exactly what I saw when the play happened. I said, what the heck is he doing? All Manning had to do was get the ball over his head right to OBJ. It was wide open because we had him boxed on the inside and outside, but we didn't have the depth on the inside and the middle.
But Coach, right there I want to ask you a question. Okay, and even K1, he took a step forward because he saw just what you saw. Was that the right thing to do? And I questioned that when he did it. He charged forward, and in rock, it's written. The guy in the end zone is priority one, and he charged forward. And now, like you said, the communications are already having problems. They're not collapsing. And there you go, touchdown. He's standing there. Yeah. There was real estate in both directions, 50 feet, 60 feet. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah. That was another point that Baldinger brought out in his video breakdown, too, was, what the heck was K1 thinking, okay?
He wasn't.
The linebacker is there. The linebacker's got the hook, the curl, and flat. He's got the curl flat underneath, okay? Warner was there. He stepped up. He was right there with the receiver that was hooking up there. Okay, so what K1 should have done, instead of coming up on the receiver that was basically posting up right there, that's why they run that route combination, is to get that guy to come up
to bite. Yep.
Because they're counting on him being experienced, chasing that route up, and then the guy behind him being open, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Basically, K1 bit on the bait.
God.
And that's, now I will tell you this, their DB coach, Hafley, I don't know what goes on in the meeting rooms, but between him and Salah, they've got to be, Hafley's got to better prepare these guys. They're not getting anything new on these route combinations. There people are running them all over the NFL. They do it every weekend.
Yep.
And they just got to be disciplined and execute the defense, and they're not doing that. And I don't know if it's the combination, if guys are getting too... I know there's pressure on them to get turnovers, okay? Could have been why K1 wanted to come up, wanted to jump that route.
Mm-hmm.
Then he realized when Manning, his chin went up, the ball was going over his head.
It's too late to react.
And by then it was too late, yeah, exactly. So, but if he does his job, though, like Sherman said this weeks ago, everybody's got to do their job. So you do your job, the defense is going to be fine.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to do your job. And, I went through and looked at some statistics on the defense, what they've been doing this year.
Mm-hmm.
And they haven't been that bad in certain situations. Like we're giving up now. Our rankings aren't that great, obviously, because we're losing games, giving up points. We're giving up 26.
That's our average.
Almost 27 points a game.
Wow.
And on offense, we're only scoring 23. So obviously, when that happens, your win-loss record is going to reflect that.
Mm-hmm.
It's the points, and our total defense is ranked 23rd out of 32 teams, which actually is understandable with all the injuries we've had.
Yeah.
We don't have the kind of depth. And I wouldn't even say that. I would say we have the depth, but the guys on the second level that are coming in are not, either they're not prepared properly, and I doubt that because Sherman would be pretty vocal, I think, about that if that were the case. He is real adamant about saying, look, Salah, he's running a superior scheme. He's doing everything right.
Says it every week.
The guys are not executing.
Yeah.
They're just not executing.
That's it. And that's why I say I don't think it's a lack of talent as much as it is people not following directions. But they've been playing ball long enough to know, you don't have to be, Salah should not, even Hafler, I think should be questioned, should not have to hold their hand and run through systems. This is the thing that's confusing me the most. And the communications, by now, it's been hammered home so hard. If you're going out of a play, give the signal, give the call, I'm dropping back, say something. But just don't stand there and let that play on the offensive side of the field develop. Those guys are loud.
Especially in the red zone.
Oh, God,
You're in the red zone. That's the most critical time in the whole game. If you're going to do that on a third down somewhere in the middle of the field, okay, you can get away with it once or twice. Maybe, but but in the red zone, you blow it, it's lethal. And that's exactly what happened in the game. Twice they got us.
And it comes down.
They got us in a zone both times.
And it comes down to
now the cover 2 call.
Yeah.
Right, the cover 2 call. It was a 2-shell. Now, when you play a 2-shell, the corner's supposed to, depending on the release of the receiver, if he gets an outside release, he's supposed to jam him and then run with him underneath.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? The safety's supposed to come over the top. Now, the safety didn't get over. And my understanding from looking at the defense and hearing Eric Crocker's rant on it was one safety played cover 2 and the other one played cover 3. And that was the problem, right? Now, who'd they have in there at the other safety? Well, they had, Exum and Strong and Ward at free, right?
Yeah.
So there's your problem right there. You got a backup guy playing strong safety, didn't hear the call. Now, this is where Ward, this is another mistake.
He's the quarterback back there, exactly.
Exactly. He's got wait a minute, we got a cover 2 called. Where's my other safety? Timeout. Call a timeout.
There's something.
Critical situation. The game's on the line. And you don't call timeout there. That's what we're talking about. The execution is just not there. That's all.
Maybe Shanahan
plays.
Maybe Shanahan should have called timeout. In fact, I want to talk about Shanahan as well.
I don't think he can see that, though, from where he is.
That's right. Who has the authorization? Salah's on the wrong. They should be in the booth. One of them should be in the booth, Coach.
Yeah.
Everybody's been crying about that all year. Why don't they notice that? You can't see the entire field. We're getting beat on plays where the coach he wasn't aware of what was going on. That's a visual error. That's something you need to. We've got a booth. It's a beautiful booth. I've seen John Lynch in it, sitting up there looking all pissed off all game long. Why don't somebody go up there with him? It doesn't make any sense. Coach, in fact,
where's Hafley?
I really do wonder. I'm going to be looking for him next game. Nobody calls Hafley's name.
That's the key. I'm going to tell you right now.
I knew it.
Hafley is the one I think that's supposed to be up there. He's the guy that's supposed to be the eyes for Salah if Salah's on the field. Okay. Now, if they're both on the field, well, there you go.
Dead meat.
Obviously, they're not seeing everything that's happening. Happening.
God.
But, when I coached, most of the times in semi-pro, you play at high school football fields.
Mm-hmm.
And
so they have the same
we
facilities.
Did play at some junior. Yeah, we did play at some junior college ones where we had nice booths up there. Solano College is one of them we played at. Another one was where DVC plays over in the East Bay.
Oh yeah.
And nice booth up there in the stadium, And I used to, as an O coordinator, I would sit up in the booth because I thought, you know what, I can see the field better. I can see what the defense is doing.
Mm-hmm.
I can, my son was up there working with me, and he was cataloging what the defense was doing with their safeties.
Sure.
Are they rotating? Are they, tangling, or what's going on? So he was watching the safeties.
There's all kind of advantages. They've got to go ahead and incorporate it. But these are old hands. They should know this. Because I want to move on to Coach Shanahan, though.
Sure, yeah.
Some of the things that are being said about his play calling, although I just, I always like, what? I've never questioned Shanahan. But I want to know some perspective on why would Shanahan's play calling be questioned? And he explains it using the pressers because usually the media people see some of the things that the fans are saying and questioning as well. I've always wondered about that because we're talking about a guy who took a team to a Super Bowl and pretty much on the strength of his shoulders. I mean, Quinn's a great coach over in Atlanta, but Quinn goes nowhere without Kyle Shanahan, has been proven for the last 2 years. That team may even miss the playoffs this year. Oh, yeah. But that's the point. Shanahan, is his game, and you see it as being suspect, or what's the problem?
No, it's no. Again, and again, now I'm not defending coaches because I was an ex-coach.
No, I know, but I just want to see from your perspective what you're seeing, because you're seeing a different thing than fans are seeing.
I understand what's going on out there, and let me tell you something. Shanahan is working miracles with our offense. Okay. And I'm going to go to another podcast that I listened to on Bitter Rivals from Oscar Arpacio.
Oh, yeah.
That's his name, I think. He does the Bitter Rivals podcast.
Right. They've got several
He
people.
was talking about how Shanahan he's on his third quarterback this year.
Yeah, number one.
And that kid, now Mullens hasn't learned this offense or prepared without being taught to do that.
Yeah.
Okay? Because he didn't have that level of preparation in college. He was nothing special to all the offensive coordinators and head coaches in the league when he was coming out.
He went undrafted.
I don't even think he was drafted. Yeah, I don't think he was drafted.
No, he went undrafted. They went right by him.
Yeah, so Shanahan gets him, and last year starts developing him. And Shanahan, I'm telling you, he works miracles with quarterbacks. He really does. What he's going to do next, I'm getting ahead of myself, but what he's going to do next year with Jimmy Garoppolo, I'm telling you, it's going to happen.
Right.
Next year's the third year, it's going to happen. But right now, what's happening is, again, injury problems. I mean, how often this year have we had the same set of receivers on the field working with the quarterback at the same time? I don't think there's one game where I don't think there's 2 games in a row they've been able to do that.
Kittle's the only guy I know of that's been out there every week.
Right. And even he's playing banged up, right?
Yeah, because he has to.
And we don't have that second guy. I mean, Selleck is a good blocker, but he's slow as dirt, and he can't get out. He just can't get out into the routes. The way that Kittle can. Kittle is just he's amazing at how he's able to get.
And that's why I'm still crying about Vance McDonald. People gave me grief about that. He drops the ball. I said Vance McDonald was the best receiver we had next to Jeremy Curley before he got thrown out of here. So don't tell me about Vance dropping the ball. Anyway, let me not get started on that. Go ahead. But he would have been awesome.
So
Him and George Kittle would have been incredible. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I don't. McDonald is I think his problem, and he had some drops with Pittsburgh as well. He was having trouble and staying healthy too for a while. But now he's on a tear and he's doing good.
Yeah, his health problem.
It's just a matter of him getting into the groove. But Shanahan is. I know people want to criticize him as a head coach, just saying, "Oh, he's taking on too much." Well, let's talk about teams that have head coaches that are offensive coordinators. Okay, number one, Bill Walsh did it back in his day. Mike Shanahan did it. Mm-hmm. 2 of the greatest coaches ever, winning percentage-wise, Super Bowl percentage-wise. Mm-hmm. I mean, and then you go to guys like Chuck Noll was an offensive coach, right? Yeah. Andy Reid is an offensive coach.
Currently.
Who won the Super Bowl last year? Offensive coach and head coach, Philadelphia Eagles, right?
Yeah. I didn't know he's an offensive coach, is he?
Yes.
Those are his incredible plays out there throwing the ball to the quarterback. Okay. I didn't really know that about him. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, yeah. He was an offensive coach. And as a head coach, some of them will name an offensive coordinator, but all the offensive coordinator does in those schemes, that people don't understand this, but all they do in those schemes is they coach up the quarterback. They're a glorified quarterback coach.
On the floor, those guys.
What they do is Jason Garrett, he's another one, offensive coach, coaching as a head coach. Now, Garrett's had some good years, but they've had trouble staying healthy. And I think they jumped the gun a little too much on Dak Prescott being the great, starter and everything. They should have stuck with the run game more. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But a lot of coaches that are head coaches and offensive coordinators that do very well, that's not an issue. When I became a head coach, I was an offensive coordinator and a head coach at the same time. No problems. Never had an issue. You just have to be aware of what's going on. And Shanahan is one of the most aware coaches you will ever see on the sideline. Jay Gruden, John Gruden. The majority of I'm going to tell you this. Okay, this is what I'm getting to. Yeah. Okay, and of course Sean McVay, right? Mm. These guys are the rule rather than the exception. When you get a good defensive coordinator paired with an offensive coordinator who is also head coach, your team does really well. Mm-hmm. When you get a defensive coach and an offensive coordinator who's allowed to have the autonomy to call the plays, just like Shanahan you mentioned in Atlanta, right? Yeah. They got a great formula, right? Yeah. That's just how it is. Yeah. That position's key. But the head coach being a coordinator, what that does is it gives him not only the overall, but he's still able, like Shanahan's able to focus on the offense. He trusts Salah enough to let him run the defense, but you see them, they do talk to each other. They talk in the headphones a lot that people don't see. And once in a while, you'll see them actually come up to each other and talk on the sideline.
As we did last game when things were failing. Yes.
Yeah. The cameras only catch the negatives, but there's a lot of times when they're doing positive things and Shanahan's saying, hey, way to go, and they high-five each other, and the defense had a great stop, or there was games when our defense was just lights out. The Raider game, we were lights out in that game, and Shanahan was loving that. Him and Salah were on a groove, man. Salah was on a groove with it, and everybody did their thing. But you can't blame what's going on with the team on Shanahan, because he's doing his job. And I think he's doing a good job overall as head coach, based on what's he got to work with.
Yeah, and you just underline the whole thing. He's working a miracle with a quarterback
Yeah.
that nobody else
Third
wanted,
string
and
guy.
he should have won both games. He should have won against the Giants, but
Yeah.
the defense, again. Coach, we're going to run out of time, but I do want to get a perspective from you as far as this game coming up with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, what do you see coming? Because my own feeling is Nick Mullens, at the pace he's coming along, what do you think is going to happen in this game? And give me a score as to what you think the outcome is going to be.
Well, Tampa Bay's offense is worse than ours. Tampa Bay's defense is worse than ours.
Oh, because you have to use us as an example.
But, yeah, we don't have a choice, right?
Right.
Got to stay within the context. But
wow,
I'll tell you this: the only gotcha thing here to me is that they're playing in their own house, so they're going to be a little bit more fired up than usual, that kind of thing. However, all it's going to do for us is keep the game a little closer. But in my opinion, we should beat them. I think it's going to be a 28-21 win for us. And our defense has been starting. Now our defense has been starting to drop. They've been giving up more rushing yards.
I noticed that. Tired,
we're
probably.
at 100 and what are we at? 102 rushing, 20th in the league now. 102 per game.
Are we up that high? We must have had one game because Saquon got 67 yards. The week before the Raiders
didn't have a huge.
Yeah, the Raiders didn't get any ground yards. I'm kind of surprised at that stat. I've not seen that. Okay.
Yeah, it's 102.2 yards per game we're giving up on average right now. Now, a couple quarterbacks have run on us a little bit.
Oh yeah,
we've had the other back, the non-featured back, actually do pretty decent against us on average.
Yeah, Gurley and his whoever that other guy is. Good Lord, that was scary.
Yeah, the other guy was but I mean, I think we should win this game again. Somebody said one time, I saw a comment. It was we were talking about how the Buccaneers were a terrible team, lousy team. We should go in and beat them.
Yeah.
Problem is, the reality, the comment was that, what about us? We're losing all these games against a lousy team. So therefore, we must be a lousy team, right?
We're indignant, Coach.
All right.
We're never going to compare ourselves with the worst teams in the league. When Cleveland was bad, I kept saying, and people said, when Cleveland was bad a few years ago, I said, you know what, though? I am glad we're not playing the Browns this season. That was the year before last, I think it was. And I'm glad we're not playing the Browns this season as well. There is a certain amount of shame involved in losing to the Browns. Now, this year, I'm thinking they're capable of beating us with what I've seen the last couple of weeks. So therefore, I'm glad we're not playing the Browns.
You're right.
If you're watching this, and I know you. I didn't say. I'll deny I said that. Good Lord.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah, I think the good thing is Mullens is showing improvement every week. Yeah. I mean, his timing, his eyes, what he's seeing out there, he's making good reads. He's much quicker in the process than CJ was.
And that look in his eye out there. Have you seen him? He looks like, I'm going to get this done. I swear to God. And remember when that was, what's the new kid's name? Anyway, he dropped a pass. Our new kid, the 7th round pick. Oh, God. Anyway, Richie James. Mullens put that right on the number. James dropped it. Yeah. The camera shoots over to Mullens. Mullens gets his mouth. Obscenities are flying. Okay, that's my quarterback. That's the kind of, I want that reaction. You don't want to accept failure. You don't give him a smile. When he comes back, you can give him the old quarterback, okay, I'm coming right back to you on this next play. And you can give him that when he gets to the dugout. But in the meantime, show me some feeling. Show me a pulse. Let me know that you're into this for the win. I like Mullens for that reason. So,
yeah, he's fiery and he's a leader out there, no doubt. Yeah. That's a good thing. One quick thing to end on Salah, okay? Not making excuses for the guy, all right? Bottom line is the buck stops with him. Yeah. Everybody knows that. Yeah. Okay, so I'm not making excuses for him. I'm just saying there are other factors you have to consider. So all that means is give the guy a chance to get the tools that he needs. He needs an edge rusher. He needs a consistent safety, consistent corner. And let's see what he can do then. Can Foster stay healthy and stay in there?
Oh, God.
I mean, all that stuff matters,
Ruben. I know.
So give him the tools he needs, right?
And then
let's see. If he doesn't get it done then okay. Now we know we got to make a change after year 3.
There you go.
Or maybe during year 3 for all we know. But I do think there was one thing we talked about. A lot of people were talking about Chris Richard.
Yeah. From
Dallas's DB coach.
Yeah. I mean, you saw that in the chat there. People love this guy.
Yeah. And he is good. He's very good. But let me tell you what's going to happen there. Dallas is going to probably keep him as their D coordinator. They're going to want to lock him up for the end of the year. So I think, who's their defensive coordinator now? The older guy, right? They're going to move away. They're moving away from those guys, I think, now.
Yeah.
And Dallas is starting to, we better get some fresh young blood in here.
Because Richard's not going to.
Richard is the guy.
You're not going to just lift a guy like that out of Dallas. And what would really be nice, though, if they did get rid of Halfley and bring in Richard. But Richard, why would he leave a coordinator's job when he could, stay where he is? But
yeah,
DeMarcus,
he gets the coordinator position.
DeMarcus Lawrence, you're talking about a guy that you're going to have to get with some experience to play that edge. I agree with that so much because you don't know what you're getting if you get a kid out of the draft. Really what's strange is a lot of those kids came out of the draft that we wanted off the edge are doing well this year with their respective teams. But I want an experienced guy that's already proven that he can do the job and get him in here. And let's stop with the edge. 4 years, Coach? 2014, I think, was our last year of having an edge. And even then, Alden Smith was not Alden Smith. Ahmad Brooks was consistent. But you're only going to get so much from Ahmad Brooks. And from that year on, It's been the same thing each and every year. We can't get a pass rush. People are still saying they want Greedy out of LSU. I like Greedy. I don't want Greedy. I want an edge. I mean, your DBs are only going to be so good, So
yeah, it's got to be an edge. And even if we get the rookie Bosa, because we might be picking second, and I think the first team's going to take a quarterback or something stupid.
But it's going to be Gruden unless he's going to trade down, Coach. And Gruden's going to get Bosa, or he's going to get the best edge rusher available because he lost Khalil Mack. Yeah. He's got 3 other choices in the first round as well. So Gruden's going to get 4 first-round picks, which is just the league should put a clamp on it. He's going to go for that because they're going to tank. They're going to get the first-round pick. Yeah. They're going to get several other picks in the first round. It's got to be a new record. 4 first-round picks in the first round. He can trade, manipulate. He controls the draft this year. So he's going to go ahead and
that's why I said, exactly, yeah. That's why I said when a lot of people were commenting on, got to get Bosa, I'm saying, well, wait a minute. I don't think he's going to be there. Yeah. We had won that game against the Raiders, and I thought, okay, now we're picking third, right?
Yeah.
Then we lose to the Giants. Okay, now we're picking second again. But so we're back to second. But Bosa's going to be gone, and Farrell's he's not as good.
I Bosa, like him, but he's not Bosa quick is the thing.
He's around the ball, but he's not a guy that you can rely on to come off the edge consistently like Bosa does. Bosa's just a beast coming around.
I've seen him.
Let me tell you, that's why I said we need, if we pick up 2 veteran defensive ends, 2 veteran rushers. And I named guys like Frank Clark and Dee Ford. Cameron Wake from Miami. Cameron Wake can rush the passer.
Yes.
Okay? He would be perfect as a guy to come in, just like we used Doomerville. Bring him in. And I think Wake would get more sacks than Doomerville did. But if we got that other edge rusher, and we got 2 veterans now, Clowney's another one. Texans will probably franchise him. I don't know. It depends, but he's another one. Clowney, though, what I don't like about him is he takes plays off. That's the only thing. He will take plays off.
He's probably tired.
When he does that, but he's in there every down, I think. That's why. So we could rotate him and the other guy, or we could put them both in there on passing downs.
I've seen Miles do that too. That's something about edge rushers. Every now and then, you see these guys, I get to get, because they're the ones who have to. The biggest explosion comes off that guy each and every snap. So if the coach is not monitoring his snaps, you got a guy that's out there taking plays off. Coach, you know what?
Right.
We're going to get together again sometime soon. Let's go ahead and say goodnight. And Coach, appreciate you as usual for shedding some light on things. So they at least know it's not my imagination, that it isn't really all Robert Salah's fault. You heard it? I mean, there you go.
No, there's lots of extenuating circumstances, for sure.
Coach, it's time for the 3, 2, 1 shout out. 3, 2, 1.
Niners! Bears.
I got a feeling Coach couldn't wait
It'll
until I
wake
asked him
up
for that. Coach T. I always like Coach T's answers because he always goes in depth. He never just answers a question. He gives you the reasoning behind it and how come. And you know, it's easy to buy. If you're trying to learn something from somebody, Coach is a semi-pro coach, man. He goes all the way back. He's had some winning teams. He's a championship coach, too. So he knows the game. And he knows everything the 49ers are doing out there. Thank you, Coach. Fam, I'm going to tell you what. You know what? Get some rest. I'm going to see you tomorrow. I'm looking for your prediction on this game. Coming up with the Bucks. And you know what? We haven't had a winner that actually got the score exactly right yet. Will somebody do it? We shall see. Looking for you tomorrow for your prediction. Winning. I don't care what anybody says. Winning feels so much good. And I know. And then when draft day comes, hey. But listen, I want to say one more thing about that, though. The Browns have been on top of the draft each and every year. Here they are again, drafting right behind us. It ain't always about the top draft pick. I'm trying to think of the last team to pick up the top draft. I know, right? The Rams. Quarterbacks don't count. We're not looking for a quarterback, okay? Talking about it. But we're in position. You know, let's talk about the draft. Let's talk about the draft later, because don't get me started on the draft right now. Count me out before I start talking about the draft.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have my sacred stone.
Oh, this is crazy mother.